Hey kids, how are you? Sorry, I'm 2 minutes late because I don't know, because I'm kind of sleepy and lazy, I guess. So it took me a while to get back up off the couch, but I made it. And let's see who we have. Chris is here. Hello. Regina, Diane, Nancy, Kim is here. Hello. Oh, Justin. Hello, hello. Oh, hi everyone but Chris Kelly. Hi, Jackie. I'm like shaking everything behind me laughing. Sorry. I don't think you could probably hear it, but let me just get some things out of my nest here so there's room. Okay, so I finished my coffee and now I have my sweet tea, or my not sweet tea. Sorry, that's only a treat. This is just regular black tea that I will be sipping on because gotta wait a couple hours for the next coffee. Hi, Kristen. Okay, so I have not pulled cards out. You will see from the title of this that I've decided to do work through 3 cards today. But yeah, I need to get myself situated here. Oh, boys. So I'm glad Justin is here because it's reminding me, and Chris kind of, um, okay, I can't pay attention to you two. I'll just be laughing. So a week from today, which I don't know if we're on week 6 or 7, I can't remember. Anyway, next week at this time, now my little notification is spinning. I'm focused. Next week at this time, I will be on Justin's channel, right? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to still have an Archetypes talk, but we're going to kind of take just a 1 week break from going through cards in the Kim Krans deck and have sort of a broader discussion about archetypes and show some different decks that might claim to be archetype decks or things that we use more generally in that way. Really, it's all archetypes, right? But yeah, we're just going to have a little coffee and chat about archetype stuff. So please feel free to join us over there. And then the following week, we will be back here on Blue Crescent Tarot at 10 a.m. to pick up our next set of cards. So also wanted to say, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, well, today at 11:30 my time, so probably about like a half hour after we end with this, Chris has a premiere set for something. I didn't see what it was, but there's a premiere at Elemental Cartomancy. And then next Sunday, I think 11 o'clock my time is the first Mary L Zoom. And then the following Thursday is 4 p.m. Mary L on YouTube. I don't know why that was so hard for me to figure out because I'm just second guessing about the Sunday time. But anyway, that starts next week, right? Oh, Justin says, or we can do it on your channel, up to you. I'd like to go through the deck and talk about the archetypes associated with was just major. What? Thanks, Chris. You're welcome. Oh, Starman. Awesome. I love that. Okay. You all know about the story, how I pulled over on the highway because I was listening to Simon back in my commuter days, and he was talking about that deck, and I pulled over to order. And because he's like, I don't know how many are left, and I think maybe there were like, no, not 4. That was when I bought New Choice. I got one of the last like 5. I think maybe there were like 10 or 20 left. Each major. I got you, Justin. That's awesome. So yeah, come hang out with me and Justin. I don't know where we'll be, but it'll be set up at some point. And then yeah, Chris wanted to go through those announcements because, especially because the Sunday one kind of lines up, after. I am so ADD right now. Look at what I'm holding, like two different things that don't go together, and I'm just like playing with the cards and talking, and I don't know. I'm just really excited to be in here as always. So anyway, Marielle study group next week after me and Justin, and then the following Thursday is probably what I'm going to be doing. 4 to 6 my time, 9 to 11 Chris's time. Okay, so today we are talking about the Maiden, which we've talked about before in conjunction with the Mother, which was our first card. So my husband just yelled. I mean, not yelled, but like yelled out. Like, I don't know if the cat got him or what's happening. Anyway, sorry. Hi, Jamie. So the Maiden we'll kind of go over again just sort of quickly because we've already talked about that because it's part of that Maiden, Mother, Crone trifecta. And I need to do some more work in the group about putting those three together. And I'm trying to figure out if I need to redo the album so it makes more sense or if anyone cares. I don't know. Hi, Tammy. Hello. So anyway, and then I think last week when we were talking about the mentor and the poet, I feel like one of those had what Kim Krans calls a sacred pairing. And so I need to remember what that was. Sorry, I'm kind of scattered today. Thanks for hanging out. Let me crack this open. Sip, sip. Okay. Let's find the deck. It's just friends hanging out. This is the only way that this is possible for me. So thanks for being here. Okay. Yeah, Jamie, we do miss you. I saw Chris say that. Jamie says, Chris, you were on my brain a lot when I was at the coast. Aw. I'm making perfect sense. That's good. That's good. Let's find our cards. How are you all doing today? Let's do a check-in while... Gosh, I love that card, but you can't see it yet because it's not time. Looks like you're drinking a bottle of sauce. Okay. Product placement. It's Pure Leaf brewed tea. So it's just black unsweetened tea, like iced tea. But I just took it out of the cupboard. You know what I mean? I usually drink it room temp until I open it and then it goes in the fridge. Do you need all these details? It's not sauce though. It's just fucking plastic, which is terrible. Okay. Oh. All right. Back to cards, finding cards. We're looking for the Maiden. I never finished that sentence. This is amazing. The Maiden, the Hunter, and the Warrior. And last week, I said, oh, we'll probably just do 2. But no, we're going to push through and talk about 3 because I feel like they sort of go together. Not that they need to, but I think that will be a good little conversation to have. You guys. Oh, there's one, the Warrior, right? Yep, that's us. I'm knocking over decks. Okay. I didn't color any more. I didn't color any more card backs. every Sunday, I'm like, this week on my work breaks, I'll just have my deck next to me and I'll color them on my little 15-minute break. Do you all think I did any of that? No, but it was kind of a weird work week. It was kind of busy, so I didn't color anymore. Came back to tragedy. Oh, Jamie. I'm sorry. You can tell us about it if you want. Hello, Nikki. Welcome. Okay, so I found one of our cards. Oh, I bet Maiden is still over here. Hold on. To be colored. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. Okay. Dear Hunter, where are you? Okay. Y'all, where is it? There's our scary cat. Are you kidding? Hunter. There it is. Fourth from the bottom. Fifth from the bottom. Okay. Your blue colored card looks amazing. Yeah, I've done two. Let's look at what I have done. I'll just keep showing off the same. Look at that beauty. I realized the one I started live with you last week is like the two different types of markers. Like one's more flat and one's more liquidy. But it's okay. I think it's going to work out. And a green one. Beautiful. And I just have this little bit of the mixy red and orange one, pink and orange, that I did last week while I was talking to you all. Okay. Yeah, wow, right? They're so gorgeous. Okay, so here's the main deck. This goes back in here. Today we have the Maiden. Yeah, Justin, you like those? I need to do more. It'll be so impressive. And I'll take one big picture of all of them. The Maiden. I don't know which order they go in. In the book, we have the Maiden, the Hunter, and the Warrior. So we have the Maiden, which again we touched on a bit. The Hunter. Oh, they're numbered. I could look at the cards. So here's our Hunter. We haven't seen this one before. I'll let you look and adore it. Isn't that an awesome card? It is. And the Warrior, which is also really awesome. So we will go through these. Do you want me to read through the Maiden again, or am I reading just way too much? Let's read the Hunter. Let's start with the Hunter, and if you want me to go back, I have no problem doing that, but I just don't want to bore you out of your mind. Just the keywords for the Maiden are the Virgin, the Princess, the Innocent. So yeah, that Warrior card, right? That's tattoo worthy, if I do say so myself. It's amazing. Okay, so here we are with the Hunter, the Seeker, the Pursuer, the Predator. And I think these keywords are really nice to have because it's archetypes are so big that sometimes we hear, the Hunter and we think, oh, that's not me. I don't have that part or whatever. But I think, general consensus is that we have all of these aspects or know all of these aspects, right? So similar to like a tarot deck being like the different facets of a complete person, that, archetypes might work that way or in opposition to that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's sort of this, Plato called them forms, right? And then in the Jungian school, they became archetypes. So, but it's still that idea that they're these like inherently known things. Oh, Sandra, hello, hello. Thank you so much for stopping in. And I hope you have, well, what time is it there? I hope you have a lovely afternoon. So Maiden, warrior, hunter, I think of a Norse shield maiden, right? It was kind of a good combination to put together. At first, last week I said we'll just talk about maiden and hunter, and then a couple nights ago when I was thinking about this, I thought, you know what? No, we're going to put the warrior in there because I feel like it's another sort of aspect of that, or could be. So, point is, I like these different keywords because, I may not call myself a hunter, like really literally, but I would say um, the pursuer, right? There's something that we all, you know, go after, even those of us like me who aren't super what I would call like goal oriented. This probably sounds weird, but there must be other people who are like that, right? Like I just am not, I don't know, like my husband is always like focused on the next thing or how to improve this job or wanted to move from like the shop worker to the manager and he's done that and like I'm just kind of content in my job. I mean, I was given a promotion a few years ago and became a specialist in my position, but I just sort of fell into it and things just sort of happened and it's the perfect thing for me. So I was really thankful for it, but I wasn't pursuing that. Right. So I just feel like I'm making myself sound really lame, that I just don't pursue things the way a lot of people do. Right. I'm not like, oh, I have to get to that next level. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I feel like I'm probably in the minority. Um, but I guess the thing when I was trying to think about what I have pursued the most, it would be um, as a feminist, I say this as a choice, and it's not what anyone else has to want, but I did pursue marriage and a baby. And before Ryan, I had bought my own house. I was going to be artificially inseminated 10 months, all July, no, that same year. No, the following year. I moved into my own house in July 2013, and I was going to try to have my own baby in October 2014. In March 2014, I started talking to Ryan, which like I knew him already, knew him for a long time, and that's the only reason that I got together with anyone. Does that make sense? Like I was done. Like it was totally fine. I'm like, I'm content. I'm gonna buy my awesome house, get all my tarot shit out, have a baby. Um, so it was like all very serendipitous how it happened because like I was truly and honestly done with relationships. Okay. So anyway, the point is I pursued those things. I pursued home ownership and I got my own space where I could just like stay forever. Right. So there are these times when I'm pursuing things, but it's to be very still and content and not to like keep going for the next thing. Okay. Jackie says she's the same. And I'm conflating this a little bit, but I feel, I know Sandra had to go, but I feel like maybe she's the same way before when we were talking about like traveling in one of my lives. I'm like, I don't have a bucket list except for now, like to go meet tarot friends. Like that's it. Like I just don't have these things. I'm not super adventurous. I'm just happy and content and want to play with tarot cards and like sip some red wine. I don't know. These are my goals in life. Um, so I'm just rambling about what else is new. Justin says men are highly disagreeable in the workplace for the most part. I'm very agreeable myself. Yeah, and he has had the place he is now. is pretty good, but there are still these issues. And um, Ryan is like super efficient and problem solving and like can really do anything or like solve any problem, like really truly. Not, I mean, I am biased, but like he's just super capable, and he can be direct when he needs to be, but he's not disagreeable, right? He's very well-rounded and can kind of talk to anybody, and he's nice, right? Like he doesn't have this like weird chip on his shoulder. He's just very, I don't know. They're lucky to have him, and I'm glad that for the most part, um oh, agreeable meaning unhappy with being at the bottom of the hierarchy. So, yeah, it's just kind of as in opposition to me, because the whole time he and I have been together, it's been this kind of like struggle for him to like get from one place to the other. And I've just had the same job and like been happy. And like we talk about that. He's like, how come you just have this awesome job? And that's part of it too, right? Maybe if I was in a super shitty situation, I'd be more apt to kind of like wrestle around and try to figure out how to get out of that. And that, trust me, I've had my fair share of terrible jobs. But anyway, I kind of got settled when I bought that house and a couple years prior with my job. And he is still kind of in that um, shifting around environment, though I think this place is good. So that's a lot of rambling for how I can consider myself the hunter. Okay. I usually read the margins first. Let's do that. Welcome back, Kristen. And hello, Gerald. I saw you, but I was rambling. Thank you for being here. Okay, so our left margin says, study the Greek goddess Artemis. Notice her nuanced relationship to the moon, the earth, and the feminine. The predator honors its prey with a precise and skillful hunt. The hunter deeply reveres the life it aims to take. So that moon talk, of course, resonates with me. So, and my name means goddess of the hunt and of the moon. So I guess I hunt something, right? Just home life is what I hunt, and tarot cards. Um, Knowledge, I guess that's a thing, right? Have a master's degree. I did struggle and hunt through like my undergrad and grad school life. I guess that fits into that, right? Um, our right margin note says, when you activate the hunter archetype, you are aligning your energy with the great creatures of the world, the lion, the wolf, the tiger, the shark. Do so with care. So aligning ourselves with energies that help us get to where we're going. That's another way to kind of contextualize that. It's super weird though, isn't it? I think about that sometimes. It's like we don't yell at kids for being disagreeable. Oh, I missed something. Deanne is the moon goddess and the huntress also. Yeah. Yes. Diane and I are the same linguistic root, the same etymology, right? Disagreeability is linked with leadership and success in the workplace. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kristen says, my job is mostly horribly boring, but it's a wonderful job in so many other ways. And that's kind of me too, Kristen. I've said before that I don't mind that I have like this boring, repetitive, like I've linked it to being kind of like a librarian before, but I mean, it's not, it's just with like data. It doesn't come with that like fun, creative side of being a librarian. I'm like a technical data librarian, and I review things like letter for letter and line for line, and then I put a digital stamp on it and I put it online just like over and over and over again. But I also read tarot and I dance and teach dance. And so I have these other places where my creative outlet happens. So that's, I think, a lot of the reason why I'm okay with that. And I'm like, that's cool. Just give me the paycheck. And I like the people I work with, though I haven't worked with them in person in over a year now. My boss is amazing. The people are cool for the most part. It's whatever. Like I will shuffle the paper to get the money, and then I come home and do my fun things. Hello, handsome, says Justin. Don't we yell at kids for we don't, but don't we yell at kids for being disagreeable? My middle name means famed female warrior, which is cool. That is very cool. Disconnect between upbringing and then what is actually rewarded in the world. Right. And we try to be, of course, Max gets in trouble for things and is told, like, no, you can't do that. But we also, by and large, keep it very open. Like, I understand that you're frustrated right now and that you want this thing to happen. And I think that's a really good idea, but we can't do that right now. Like, right. We try to be very, like both sides of the coin with things like that. And we say, when you're frustrated, do this and talk to us. So I work to live, not live to work. My job is pretty chill. I'm the boss of me. No power struggles here. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I don't have any of that kind of work drama. Like, my boss is amazing. And yeah, we don't, like, our little section is, we just work really well. And I think by and large, it's because of my boss. Other work friends, of course, will tell me about issues they have with their bosses. And sorry, my nose is so itchy. But I just don't have any of that. So I've like fallen into this like really nice little pocket, thankfully. But I've had my share of terrible bosses. Like, I don't know. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole. I have crazy stories. Let me know if you want crazy boss stories. Oh, because now I just thought about another one. I have like a spectrum of crazy boss stories. Justin says, I want to be the boss of me. Maybe I am disagreeable. I can't really see you being, everyone's a little disagreeable and like standing up for what you want, but I don't see you as being someone like that I would ever label disagreeable. Gerald says he misses talking to customers. What, Deanne? You give Max good parenting by giving him options to express his feelings. What's next? You probably feed him and wash him every day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we do. We're not perfect. There are times when I'm like, dude, fucking stop. Why are you insane? I don't say that. But even when I'm a little more than I want to be, when I'm a little extra, I come back to it and say, okay, dude, let's talk about this. Please don't hit me again. If you want to punch something, we have these big things called foofs. They're like bean bags, but they have foam in them. And I'm like, go jump in your foof or go punch your foof. Like, you don't punch anyone or anything or, yes, spill the tea. Okay, well, so I had one boss who, and I actually stayed there for a few months because I so needed the job. Like, I had to deal with it, and I never punch the foof. That's what we do. I was like, out of a job for a while, and I finally found one, and like the agency said, this place, we've had a lot of turnaround at this place, but it's because the people it's all guys and it's in this shop environment. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, it's all guys. I'm like, okay. So it's shitty, right? Okay. So I was just like, let me fix this. I feel like I sat down further. So She's like, "Well, they just kind of, they cuss a lot and like the language, I think the language is not great for everyone, and so people don't last very long there." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "That's fine. I don't mind language." So, I was like working in the office, and one of the project managers was also in the office, and there were two other guys in offices, and then there were two ladies at the front desk. And then it was like a restoration place, so like flood or fire damage or just like deep cleaning, things like this. And they also like rich people would send their carpets in, like their what are they called? Can't think. Anyway, and they had like the only machine big enough that you could like run through like giant floor rugs and clean it all fancy. Does this make any sense? Instead of like spot cleaning. So anyway, it was like this fancy carpet cleaning place plus also restoration. And so the guys in the shop would like go out and like work on houses for the day and come back. And those guys were all nice, but they would like come back at the end of the day and like come up to my little window and ask if I was okay and like if anything crazy happened. Like this was the kind of environment it was. They'd come like check on me at the end of the day. So the guy that owned it, I worked for a psychopath for years. I walked out on him 3 times in 20 years. He's still a friend, great human, horrible boss. Okay, well, this guy was just a horrible human. Okay. He not trying to be judgmental about drugs and addiction, but he was super coked out, and he would like go in the back and like snort a bunch, and then he would come back up to the front and he'd be like kicking walls and pushing stuff over like in his own office. He'd get real mad because like he missed a phone call, or he'd come in and just be like screaming at me because such and such lumber place didn't pay their bill yet, because um we'd bill out, but then also like bills would come the other way because, well, whatever, like we'd buy supplies from places and they would like trade work. And so then like they would owe us some money. And so every like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever it was, I had the schedule to call like on outstanding bills. So my job, part of my job, was to call them and say, "Hey, you owe us $300 or whatever." And then I would just check it off on my list. Well, if a certain amount of time had gone by and they hadn't paid yet, he would just come scream at me. I'm like, "What do you like? I missed the mafia part of my job. Like, am I supposed to go like get the money, or do I just call them and ask for the money?" Right? Let's take a sip. This guy. Animist, hello, welcome. We're talking about archetypes, but right now I'm talking about Crazy Boss. So anyway, he would just be super mean and crazy because he was coked out. Also, his brother was terminally ill, and the brother would come into the office and try to sneak in to the owner's office to, I'm going to say to steal, but to get access to their parents' estate information that the cokehead boss was like keeping from the other one. So he came in and tried to get those books one day, and the owner caught him and like pushed him down. This dude was like frail and like 3 months away from death, and he like pushed him into the wall and like knocked over this whole shelf and everything. It was crazy. Archetype of the tyrant, right? Um, yes, the addict. So anyway, he was just very like violent and erratic, and he never do anything to me except for like scream in my face. And one time, again, y'all, I would not usually put up with this, but I was so poor. Like I needed the money. I was scraping by. This was after the point in my life where my mom had given me money out of my baby brother's savings account, right? Please know that I paid all that money back to my baby brother, and he was in high school. Like he didn't need it at the time. So, like that was the thing that happened. Like this is where I was in my life, right? Eventually told my brother, um, like the day that I gave my mom all the money back, I was like sobbing. Like I had to take your savings because I was so poor and life is terrible, right? This was like the phase of my life. Anyway, so that's why I was staying there, putting up with this job, right? Because I needed money to pay back my baby brother's account. So this dude just screaming in my face, and I'm like, can I ask you a question real quick? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. I was like, am I still getting paid right now? And he said, yeah, you are. And I was like, okay, go ahead. And he pushed over another shelf of stuff and left the room. I guess he did not like that. Sometimes I think back and I'm surprised by myself. I was like really sassy back then, but I mean, I was still like crying in the bathroom all the time there because he was terrible and I was kind of afraid. But I also let my mouth get away with me sometimes. So anyway, I asked if I was still getting paid and he said yeah, and then he left again. Shortly thereafter, I called in and was like, hey, yo, Friday was my last day. Thanks for everything. Yeah, life is so hard. It really is. More sips. Hi, Neem. Okay. Yeah, very angry people in positions of power. In some cases, for sure. Let's just release that and be thankful that I'm out of that phase of my life. That was a struggle phase. A struggle. I would have punched him in the mouth, especially if you were my sister or daughter. Yeah. My stepdad knew a little bit about the situation there because I would like talk to my mom about it a bit. And she was like, do you want him to go up there? And I was like, no, absolutely not. And I didn't tell my dad anything about that job because my dad is a man of few words. And he has said to me more than once, you know, don't ever mess with people who have nothing left to lose. And that's very much how he feels about his life. I mean, he loves us and now he has grandkids. So I don't know. Just to paint the picture a little bit, like there have been many times where I'm sitting next to my dad on a bar stool and he just like lets me know what's up, that like if I ever need anything kind of thing, you know? So I absolutely did not tell my dad anything because that would have been a mess. So, you know how people say, I know people as a threat, I'm a witch, and I am people. Yeah, that's very much how my dad is. And he would never have let that stand. So I just didn't say anything. Okay. Let's carry on here. So we have when light. I never know if I read this before or after. When light, the hunter is focused, energized, respectful, seasoned. When dark, they are irresponsible, they violate, they are violent, and they poach, right? So this dude probably had some hunter archetype and was almost entirely in shadow. There were, I think, like 2 times when he was sort of nice. And no, maybe 5. I'll give him 5. Where he would like ask how dance was going or say something not psychotic or, oh my God, one time. Okay, one more story. The other boss is for a different archetype, so we'll save that. One time, he bought a bunch of like Nextel phones. This is going to age me a little bit. When I was working at this job, bought a bunch of new Nextels for the guys that went out on jobs. And he said, here, set these up. So they're just in boxes. I like unbox everything. I have to keep it with the box because there's like a serial number and then this code you have to put in. So I have it all organized so that there's like the box and all the wrapping with the little like note that came with it. Cause I'm like, I can't fuck this up. I can't get rid of anything. This guy will hurt me. I shouldn't say that. He never touched me, but he was real scary. So I'm like, okay, I can't mess this up. It was like meticulous. Like I had them all. There were probably like 8 or 10 guys that were getting these phones. I had them all lined up with the phone and the charger, and I had to find outlets for all of them. So I had them in the break room all around the table, like so perfectly lined up. I put in all the codes, I had them charging, and it takes a while to charge these things, like longer than it does now to like charge your new phone up for the first time. Okay. This was like, it was going to take probably like 6 or 7 hours, like the work day. He's like, start these now. So then the guys come back, they can take them home. So I'm like, okay, cool. Got them all set up. Couple hours, it was probably like 10 a.m. and he gets a call that he didn't like. And so he slams the phone down and then he goes in the break room and pushes all of the phones off the table, like ripped them out of the wall. They were all plugged in. He just trashed the whole fucking thing after I spent probably an hour setting up the phones. So anyway, okay, this is just shadow work. It's fine. Let's move on. To go deeper for further study of this archetype, we have Frida Kahlo's The Wounded Deer. Okay, so there's that. The hunter hunts. They are on a precise mission with an aim. To return home empty-handed would be to fail, which is not an option in the hunter's eye. This archetype will journey far and wide, seeking the prize that calls to its heart or stomach. Tales of bravery and feats of strength often result, creating a life full of adventure. The hunter is skillful, quick, decisive, and results-oriented. Like the great hunting goddess Artemis, who carries her quiver upon her back, the hunter typically has a weapon of choice. When this card appears, it is critical that you ask 3 questions. What am I hunting? Why am I hunting it? Is the weapon I hold so tightly in my grip truly needed for the task at hand? So, yeah, exalted man childness. I really don't know what happened to him in his life. It was really crazy. Like, I'm not talking about a person who was tolerable most of the time and then had a few outbursts. I'm talking like he usually was not in a good place. Definitely coke rage. Yeah, that did not help him. It was not a good choice for him. Um, because even when he was like trying to be normal, like he was just like seething. Do you know what I mean? Like any slightly tense conversation, like asking where something was or is this late or anything like that, he was just like talking through his teeth all the time. Oh god, my jaw's hurting just thinking about that dude. Okay. The warrior. Maybe he was on steroids too. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Why do you suppose the hunter card depicts a horse? Very good question. Let's look at our image again. That's one thing. The book does not reference the card in most cases, right? It doesn't in this one. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Maybe like the calm, maybe talking about the attributes that she starts out with about, how am I back so many pages? What happened? About precision and kind of aligning with what you want, right? Maybe that kind of that focus and precision is attributed to a horse. Those are my initial thoughts. Tales of bravery and feats of strength, life full of adventure, maybe like that kind of like unbridled freedom, right? That adventurous aspect of the hunter maybe is depicted well here. I had a roommate who was a wrestler and he was on the juice. He would punch doors off their hinges. Seriously, like this was this dude all the time. He like kicked the floorboards. Is that what they're called? Well, there's like holes and everything. So terrible. There's a horse competition series and the horses are hunter jumpers. Ooh, there's Jamie with the animal info. Yes, animist. He was unwell. I was happy to be out of that phase in my life. I felt bad leaving how I did because of like the other guy, like the sort of like co-owner or whatever. Um, he was so nice and he was trying so hard to get someone in there. And like he and I were in the same room together. So it was like mostly okay because I was like with the cool guy most of the time. And I don't know. I I feel bad, but I had to go. I could not stay. At this point in my life, I had already left the one relationship that we talked about before. So like I couldn't stay. Couldn't stay with a cokehead to like not hurt the other guy's feelings, right? I had learned that lesson. I had to move on. Horses are wild creatures, and when they are focused, they are powerful. When unfocused, they cause great damage with their power. Ooh, very good. Yes, yes, they do. Or even when they're scared, right? They will flip out. My family, well, they don't anymore, but my family had horses. And yeah, if you spook a horse, you might lose a thumb. My stepdad's mom passed away a couple weeks ago. Um, and probably 10 years ago, they still had the horses then. And she lost her thumb because she was getting her in the trailer and the lock, like the latch dropped behind her. It was like standing up and it fell down and the horse kicked. And I mean, that horse loved her. Like it was her mom. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Um, when I was 23, Steven and I got into an argument and I broke a chair. Steven picked up my $2,000 guitar and said if I ever broke anything again, he was going to bust my fender. Oh no. Well, a very I think that was a wise move, right? Because it's hard sometimes in a fight and in a moment like that to, I mean, I know he was threatening you, but at least it was, bringing it down a notch, bringing it into the intellectual realm of don't let me, don't make me hurt your guitar. So now you just break your nails when you're angry, right? Ooh, Steven ain't playing, right? Took it up a notch. Okay. What's going on with my phone? People messaging me. Okay. So there's our idea about the horse. Again, good question, Diane. And the warrior. So let's see here. Keywords for the warrior are the samurai, the soldier, the advocate. Right? Good keywords again. I feel like this opens it to make it accessible. Diane says, I can't see you getting angry enough to break a chair. I know. And that's like when I said, you don't seem disagreeable, but it like we all do and say things that I think our tarot tube family would not imagine because I feel like we're all in our happy space when we are here. I busted it in 1,000 pieces. I was young when it comes to matters of the heart, though. Yeah, I like a little bit ago when I said I used to be really sassy. That was a light version of saying like one time I ran over a dude's foot because he flipped me off. Young, right? I'm going to say what Justin said. But you'll be happy to know I haven't run over anyone since then. Okay. Left margin. Without a true purpose, manifesto, or oath, the warrior is lost. What do you stand for? What are you willing to rise in the name of? Write it out. Okay, so there's a little homework, right? Another reason I love this book because every once in a while we get a little like activity of how to access these things. Right margin says, be careful, as the warrior implies war. The two go hand in hand. Those who defeat others are strong. Those who defeat themselves are mighty. See, this is relevant. This is on topic. Justin breaking the chair and me running over that guy. I'm not that badass. It was just his foot. Okay, main part. We often envision the warrior as an armored figure with sword in hand, moving blindly toward battle. Yet the deeper aspects of this archetype bring us face to face with death itself. The warrior stands precariously at the edge of life and death, trusting the eternal to guide the sword's blade. The warrior's work requires presence, alignment, and purpose. If and when the warrior loses its center, meaningless confrontations and violence are their default response. It wasn't a bodily harm threat. It was a how would you feel if I did the same thing to something you care about? He just wanted to give you something to ponder. When hunters aren't focused appropriately, they also cause damage. Not planning, not patient. I was reading the Wildwood Tarot book and there's references to warrior in it. Very nice, Gerald. Thank you for sharing that. I never put my hands on anyone I love, just broke a chair. Right. I think your response might have been different with parenting that gave you options to express emotions. Oh, to Justin, I think your response might have been different with parenting that gave you options to express emotions. I can also be a vicious person. She still should have referenced it in the book. Oh, I'm missing something, but that's okay. If you need me, shout it out. Okay. Let me read that again. If and when the warrior loses its center, meaningless confrontations and violence are their default response. So that was like my psycho boss all the time, plus, drugs. When this card, I shouldn't say that, plus Coke. When this card appears, it is important to question the battle at hand. It is likely a great one with deep roots and long-standing tensions. The actions you take will stay with you long after the dust settles, so choose wisely. As you draw your sword, realign with the eternal wisdom within, then surrender to the battle, right? So this is about overcoming yourself, right? Defeating the self, which is just about, I think about the strength card, right? When light, fierce clarity, purposeful action, resolve, and resilience. When dark, threats, savagery, abandoning mission and values. And to go deeper, chapter 68 of Tao Te Ching and the, how do I say this? Bhagavad Gita. I'll put it in the group. My dad made me fist fight a boy that was twice my size and almost 10 when I was 5 years old. I got my ass kicked. That's the kind of parenting. Oh my God. I don't like that. Oh, I'm happy because I bought myself stickers yesterday. Yes, Gerald. Be my sticker friend. Kristen, you're awesome. You know just everything. I'm just one step from right. Meme. Oh God. Okay, that's all right. It was a long time ago and everything's fine, right? I do have like fight anxiety about, I know I just told you I ran over a guy's foot, but that's like really detached from like fighting someone, you know? And I get like really when I was dating the younger guy and we were out at the bar all the time, walking home through East Lansing, which is like MSU, like college town, he's like about to get into a fight with like some guy in the street. And he wasn't really like that. He wasn't a hothead like that. But I was like having a major like anxiety, panic attack, meltdown. Anyway, so the warrior. Let's go back just a bit to the maiden. So we kind of see how the warrior and the hunter worked similarly, right? Different aims at the outset, but the shadows are similar in that they can result in that sort of like violent, when you're not centered in the warrior or the hunter, there's this, the reaction can be violent, right? Hmm. Recalling our experiences reminds us of our growth, even when it's difficult to remember. It really does, because, like, sometimes I start telling these stories and I'm like, what was I doing? But that's the point, I guess. In his mind, he was teaching me not to be afraid of anyone. I think it had the opposite effect, though. I was afraid after that until I started playing sports, really. Oh my God. A 5-year old is a baby that I just want to hold in the foof. Okay, I can't deal with this. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Kristen says, I was the good kid. It was a very valued trait in my house. Don't be too disagreeable. Really, I was pretty good. I went like super bitch mode like the moment I turned 14, and that lasted like a year. So I was like screaming at my mom for about a year. But I mean, as far as like my behaviors and stuff, I really like you wouldn't believe all the things I didn't do. So, um, which was just kind of natural in me anyway, right? That non-adventurous thing. Like I wasn't perfect, snuck out a couple times, but I was like not trying to get in trouble, you know? Jamie says the kids I hung out with as a kid were fighters. I like words, but sometimes you aren't given a choice. Oh, no, absolutely. That's not at all to like knock the environment. And when you have to protect yourself, I mean, I'm not, um, I'm not anti-fighting because like you're saying, I mean, I think it comes down to it sometimes and it's necessary to protect yourself. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the Maiden because I want to just read through it to see because it reminds me like the Maiden and the Hunter especially remind me of like stereotypical like teenage stuff or like page energy. Um, So the hunter, the seeker, the pursuer, the predator, the maiden, the virgin, the princess, the innocent. The maiden archetype is the epitome of innocent arousal, naive sensuality, and precarious purity. She is compelling and addictive because of her flawless and youthful glow. She's the first archetype in the trifecta of maiden, mother, crone, and rightfully so because she has oh so much to learn. The maiden is perfectly positioned for trouble to come her way and subject her to a challenge that leads to the next phase of womanhood. She must grow up, yet hesitates at the threshold, enamored by the charms of youth. The maiden represents the side of us that is riveted and curious, drawn to shadowy forest, dark nights, like nights with a K, and taking just one taste of poisonous fruit. Her magic is edgy and includes both shame and delight. Let yourself fall down the rabbit hole, young one. So there's our maiden, just to kind of juxtapose or pair with the hunter. The book does not give them as a pair, but I'm just talking about them that way, just to be clear. My mom put me in karate, really gave me self confidence in my ability to protect myself. That's awesome. I think that's what we'll do, like karate or something like that for Max. I learned how not to get caught showing any emotion that wasn't a happy emotion. Oh, yeah. We don't do, even again, well, I say this, but it helps me to say it because then I keep doing it. Um, when Max is frustrated or whatever. And right now he's got like crazy emotions because like he has 3-year old brain pattern, right? It's and I we both try to remember that he's actually feeling all those things, right? Like when he's devastated because we tell him he can't watch Netflix right now. Like he's that upset about it, right? So we give that acknowledgement. I ran home crying to my dad because I was being bullied. In his defense, the hood I grew up in was tough. He didn't want me getting bullied. Yeah, and none of this is to judge people's decisions, right? Um, he was doing what he thought was potentially going to save you, right? Um, my mother was very impatient with my negative emotions. My sister and I could never be angry or cause conflict or cry too much. My mom did her best, but she missed the mark there. Um, Hey, Antoinette, no problem. Probably wrapping up here shortly. But the good news is that Chris has a premiere at 11:30, or whatever time it is where you are, in a half hour, basically. So we can hang out there. Right, Kristen. And it's hard to be patient with negative emotions, especially for me personally. I've dealt with a lot of negative emotions in different scenarios, just friends and family and past students of mine. But I was able to easily handle those, right? Like I always want to just like grab the people and help them. Oh, bye, Gerald. Um, but it's hard with toddler emotions because like they don't make any sense. So like I'll be doing like if a 10-year-old comes up to me and is like, "Hey, I'm having a really hard time with this," and they're crying and they're stressed out, they're in distress, um, that's easy for me. But with Max, I'm always trying, but I mean, it's crazy because like the neurons are not like things are not fully formed yet, and they're working really hard to find the place that they're supposed to connect to, but like it's that whole process, like literally that's what his brain is doing right now. So it's a lot of kind of coming back to my center over and over again throughout the day to make sure that I'm handling that as best I can. I grew up in the projects where parents definitely made their kids go out and fight back, no coming in crying, talking about he or she hit me. Yeah. And it definitely, I think your environment, and the time and everything, this always is in flux and changes how the trends of parenting, I think. Being a parent is hard. That's why I don't judge my mom for the things she didn't do perfectly. You can't always tell what is best for a child with their disposition. Right. Right. And that's another thing too. I try to pay attention to, that's a good way to put it, to Max's disposition and trying to figure out like, okay, this will help him, or okay, that's not going to help him so much. But again, he's 3. Like he's not brand new, but we're trying to stay open to learning all of these things. Hi, Lori. Thank you for joining us. We are about to wrap up, but Antoinette just came in too, and I told her that Chris has a premiere at 11:30, so we can move the party over there. Okay, so we read through the Maiden just to kind of recap. Any questions about things we went through today? I say this every week, but I'm really going to try to post stuff this week and get some content in there for you. And I'm pulling all of these aside. The hunter, do we have a color suggestion? I'm trying to remember all the color suggestions you've given me. The warrior, should we do rainbow for the warrior, or should we do something else? Let me know what you think. And the maiden already was suggested, Kristen, during the first week when we touched on this, we were talking about pink for this one, green for the mother, which I did, and dark blue for the crone. So I still need to do pink and dark blue for the crone. And then we have these two. So let me know what you think. But again, I need to catch up. So we can talk about these colors later if you would like as well. Okay. So after all of that talk about Chris's premiere, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be in it or not. I'm going to try to, of course. But I need to go check on my kiddo and see what's next for our little family here. Hunter yellow and warrior, yes, rainbow. Okay, Regina, I like that. You need to move us somewhere where kids talk, because if I try to talk, I'm getting beat up. Yeah. Right. And we all just have to do the best with what we have and what we know and where we are, right? Because there are situations where you can't just wish yourself out of it, right? Yellow warrior. Okay. There's another one that people suggested yellow and rainbow for that I'm going to do both, like one growing out into the other. So maybe I'll do the warrior opposite of that. I can't think what it is now. The eternal child. Maybe I'll do something with that and make them sort of mirrors. Okay, so thank you for being here, everyone. I was, I think, a little scattered at the beginning and, of course, rambled through the middle, but that's kind of what we're here for, right? Thank you all for sharing your experiences. And remember that next week, I don't know if we're going to be here on my channel or at Justin Michael for a general archetypes talk, kind of going through and just discussing different things, like maybe the broader picture, just to shake this up a little bit. Same time, 10 a.m. Daylight savings time, EST basically. And then the following week, we will be back here for the next 2 or 3 cards in this deck. I think that's it. Oh, I wasn't scattered at all. Okay, that's good. I was a little tired when I first came in here, and that was making me look for all the shiny things. So thank you all. I will hopefully see you for a bit in Chris's premiere. And if not, I will see you next week. I think I'm going to make Justin host it. So I think we'll be on Justin Michael's channel at 10 a.m. Eastern next week. If you have any questions, leave a comment here and I will get back to you. Thank you so much. Have an awesome Sunday.